What's up guys, I'm back with another video on my YouTube channel on psychology, spirituality, self-love. But today I'm going to take a different route and actually have brought my brother in to speak. His name is Max and I'm really happy to do this video with him because we're going to speak a little bit about how we use tennis to do our studies, and I just want to discuss how much tennis has impacted us in our lives of everyday lives, and I want to speak about my experience and his experience, and then we're going to compare and contrast. And we've lived under the same roof, so we've had to deal with numerous
let's say
adversities over the last years. So this is Max, if I haven't introduced him already.
Yeah,
I have introduced you?
Yeah, you have introduced me, but I can just introduce myself.
Yeah, so introduce yourself.
I'm Max, I'm 17, I'm currently a senior in high school. I'm planning on going to college next year at Grinnell College, and yeah, happy to be here.
Great,
And
cool.
we're gonna compare and contrast our experience with tennis. And
and the reason why this is has a lot to do with psychology, because first of all, it has shaped our life paths. But it also shows us how when you use someone else's dream, or when someone lives vicariously through you, it can also impact your life in a very different manner than if you had not had that vicarious dream live through you. So basically the topic of today is how to keep your own dreams to yourself, because this is kind of what happens. Not to say that it's negative, because tennis has brought us a lot of positive things. But it has also brought a lot of adversity. So I ended up going to USF in Tampa, and I played, it's a D1 school, and I played 4 years for the tennis team on a full ride scholarship. Unlike Max, I did not do the St. Stephen's school. I did an online school that does not exist anymore, and it was they were very trying times because there were many hours spent on the court, and I didn't necessarily want to be there. And that was also because we have a dad that's very into tennis much.
So just to clarify this, I mean, our dad's great. He's very funny, but he has sort of addiction with tennis. We can agree on that.
He has an obsession with tennis, and it's also due to his past, which we're not gonna judge or discuss
he loves tennis
for privacy purposes.
Yeah.
But he started both of us off really early in our lives. I started when I was 4, and Max, I think, earlier than that. And played tennis.
I actually started soccer at 4. I started at 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah, my first sport was soccer.
Okay. So we both started super early, but I remember you having a tennis racket since you were, a little teeny baby.
Couldn't escape it,
Couldn't escape it.
Came to me.
So it was kind of, not to say that we're victims or anything, but the choice was kind of made from the beginning. And, how I lived it, it was kind of like, well, I wanted to be pro. But I kind of convinced myself over the years that I wanted to do that. And I actually realized that I didn't have fun out on the court, and I didn't have fun competing. I didn't like it. It caused a lot of anxiety because I felt like my self-worth was put on the line. And the reason why I felt that way was because whenever you won a match, it would feel euphoric almost, and when you would lose a match, you would feel like absolute shit. So, and then you would be compared, you would be compared to other people that were doing better, probably because they liked it more than you did. And so it was just this never-ending cycle of just being compared, and that's just terrible for self-esteem.
Especially the younger you are. Younger you are, I mean, naturally you're not as mature, but the younger you are, the more if you win a match, like you said, it's paradise. And then if you lose a match, the end of the world, and I definitely felt that.
Yeah, and you felt like you had to prove yourself all the time,
especially after tough losses, and you have to, especially once I had a match point, and I was crying literally after a loss just for tennis. You shouldn't be crying after losing a tennis match. Way bigger things than that, and we realized that later in our lives.
Well, and especially because at the end of the day, we realized that we didn't want to be pro, and I think I sort of denied that to myself for quite some time. I think I felt like you were more affirmative about what you wanted to do from a younger age.
Later on. More in high school, I realized, I mean, that I was not going to be pro, I realized probably middle school.
Yeah, and I remember actually back in 2009 when I told my dad that I didn't want to play pro, and he just didn't want to accept it. And sort of try to make me feel guilty for it, which, you know, at the end of the day, it's not my problem. Again, I'll make another video talking about responsibility for our own actions, and we're not responsible for other people and what they feel or think. So, but Max here is going to Grinnell College, D3 scholarship.
Yeah, D3, yeah. Technically merit scholarship.
Merit scholarship, yeah, because you deserve it. But you're going to be playing for D3's team.
Yeah.
Now, for D1, we had to be on court, I want to say, well, it would take up 4 to 5 hours a day. What's the plan for you? Will it be that as much as that? Will it be different? Do you think, how will you deal with that?
All right, so just to give a context, my number one school actually was, my first school, my dream school was Dartmouth. So I applied early there, and it actually wasn't for tennis, because I'm not good enough to play for their tennis team, and you know, I just applied to their school. And then my second choice was BC, and again I was applying only to their school, so no tennis. But you know, there are ups and downs, I think, with tennis. I mean, for me, ups keeps me in shape, and it's a fun way when it is fun for me to, you know, get sport in and keep your body moving. But there are also downs.
And I feel like we differ on that because, for example, he likes to stay in shape doing activities like tennis or playing soccer.
Yeah,
whereas I hate that. I like to do Pilates, running on my own, doing stuff just working out on my own. So that's a good
as long as the training stays relaxed in tennis. You know, I mean, I have no problem hitting with my friends, practicing with my friends, but whenever it gets too much and it gets really extreme with the tournaments or with the practice, and last year I had to practice 2 hours a day, because I still wasn't giving up the dream to play in college. So I was playing through that, and it was just not a good experience.
Yeah, and
I got kind of burnt out. Halfway through the year.
You didn't like at the end of the day you were like you were done with it because he was doing so much.
I mean, I got injured. My 9th grade, I got growth problems. So in my knee, so I had to. That kind of slowed my tennis down, but I think it was very good.
Yeah, I think things don't happen by chance. Exactly. I think that your body also spoke.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm very happy. I mean, not that it happened, but I mean, I'm happy with the way it turned out. No.
Yeah, and also because you're an excellent student, so I mean.
Yeah, I mean, before that, I would say I was a good student when I was playing tennis, but you know, you have to focus on both sport and school, and obviously for me,
it's more important.
School is more important, and I was thinking of one of the few tennis players who believe school is more important.
Yeah.
Because most tennis players that, you know, practicing a lot, excessive in my opinion, the way they practice are only thinking about tennis and not about school.
Yeah.
But school is more important for me, and I think the more you grow up, the more you come to realize how important school is.
Well, you're also, I mean, I also love my brother to bits, but I feel like he's you're so mature also for your age. I feel that I didn't have that reasoning at that age, but hey, everyone grows up differently and takes different paths and sees things in a different way. But I think it's important to realize that whenever the reason for this video is, number one, your value doesn't depend on whether you win a match, whatever sport it is. Your self-worth is not dependent of whether you win or lose. Okay. That's number one. Number two, the point of this video is also to say that choose to do stuff that you really love, and do it for yourself, and don't do it for others, because once you do it for yourself, then nothing else matters, and it's a smooth ride from there. But if you do it for other people, then it becomes a massive challenge, and I can testify to that. So do you have any other comments?
Yeah, so something funny actually is that, you know, last year, my junior year, I was still, like I said, was playing 2 hours a day, training hard, an hour and a half tennis, 30-minute fitness. So training every day, arduous work, but at the end of the day, I was getting some results in tournaments, but nowhere near the results I wanted. And funnily enough, you know, I brought the amount of training down from I don't know how many hours, 14 hours a week to about 2 hours a week. I just like the switch from 1 year to the other, and you know I had some school stuff as well in the summer, and I decided to really take that on and really study. I spent the whole summer doing a course, so, and I had a lot of stuff for school my senior year applying to college, so I decided to pipe the tennis down, and that was the best decision I've ever done, and I've played way better this year.
Yeah.
Just playing 2 hours a week.
Yeah, the quality.
For me, a lot of people need to practice a lot to get better, but my coach saw me come back after the summer, saw me play and says, what happened? How come you're playing so well? I was playing better than what I was when I was practicing 2 hours a week, and I maintained that level.
And obviously, like, this is so important to keep in mind, this example right there, because it's, first of all, it's quality over quantity. That's number one. I feel like that for me was a big one. Yeah, and number two, it was your state of mind and your mindset when you came back, and you just sort of made that conscious decision of just piping down the tennis and focusing more on other stuff, and you just sort of let loose, because I felt like when you were playing a lot, you were also very
the more you relaxed you are, and mentally and physically, I was more relaxed physically. My arm was loose. I was just smacking the balls without caring if they went in or not, and it's just way more efficient to play like that, and it's not as tiresome.
Well, guys, this is all for today, because we're not going to go over 12 minutes, but it was really good to have you, and then we could.
Thank you. It was a pleasure
to talk about this tennis experience, and obviously we didn't go pro or anything, but we did have quite some time spent on the tennis court, so. Our experience was that, and I hope this helps in some sort of way. This was a tennis example, but it can be applied to anything in life. Don't get attached to outcomes.
Yeah, and if you're an athlete and you absolutely are fixed on playing in school, just remember D1 isn't the only option. Yeah, you can play D2 or D3, and you can still get your amount of workout in and get a good education, because D1 is challenging. It takes a lot of time out of your schedule, and you might be less performant on in school. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Bye.